Hey everyone, David Chen here, and let's talk about Sonic the Hedgehog, which is out in theaters today. Sonic the Hedgehog is a live-action adaptation of the extremely popular Sega Genesis character, directed by Jeff Fowler. In this version of the film, Sonic, who's played by an affable Ben Schwartz, needs the help of a human, Tom, played by James Marsden, to get back to his homeworld. Also in the mix is Jim Carrey, playing Dr. Robotnik, a drone specialist who's also one of the smartest humans on the planet, according to this movie. So here's the thing about Sonic the Hedgehog. It's clearly a movie that's intended for children, although you wouldn't know that from the fact that my screening last night was populated almost entirely by middle-aged men. But there have been many movies that are kid-friendly that also offer something for adults to sink their teeth into. Think of most of the Pixar movies, or even a lot of the modern Disney films, I feel like, are really enjoyable for adults as well and have interesting and complex and mature themes. So when I'm watching Sonic the Hedgehog, I'm thinking to myself, can this movie transcend its appeal as a kid's film? And the answer is not really. The world building is pretty shoddy, the themes are pretty simplistic, the character building and the character backstories are pretty paper thin. I mean, even the premise of the movie is a little bit stupid. Sonic the character needs to get from Montana to San Francisco in this movie, so the movie's solution to this is for James Marsden to drive him in his pickup truck? But like, couldn't someone just teach Sonic how to use like a map? Maybe give him a smartphone with some Google Maps on it, maybe print out some MapQuest directions or something like that. Nobody does this because that means there would be no movie. But it is pretty weird that in a movie that has the title Sonic the Hedgehog, and where Sonic the Hedgehog is the fastest creature on Earth, Sonic spends most of his time in a truck, on a road trip. Just pretty odd, I have to say. All that said, the movie can still be quite a bit of fun. In particular, there are two things about this movie that really save it for me. One is the action scenes. I remember the first time I watched X-Men Days of Future Past, and you see Quicksilver do his little thing where he runs so fast and no one can tell what's happening, and he's moving all the objects around. That was a really fascinating concept, and there's a lot of that in Sonic as well, where he's moving so quickly, it's almost like he's on a different plane of existence, like his brain doesn't work the same way that regular people's do. I really enjoyed a lot of the action in this movie. It's thrillingly shot, like the camera is moving so fast. That's what you want in a Sonic the Hedgehog movie, is to get a sense of speed, and I really feel like this movie gives that to you. The other thing I really enjoy about the movie is Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey is in full Ace Ventura mode here, and he is extremely obnoxious and childish. This might be an acquired taste, but it's something that I particularly enjoy of Jim Carrey. We haven't seen him go this loud in terms of being a character in the last few years, and I enjoyed the return to form.
In a sequentially ranked hierarchy based on level of critical importance, the disparity between us is too vast to quantify. Agent Stone?
The doctor thinks you're basic.
Listen, pal, I don't know if you realize
I'm sorry, Major. What was your name?
Benny.
Nobody cares!
Most of this film's humor is kind of like that, so you can tell pretty quickly whether or not this is going to be the movie for you. I mean, there's a long-running joke in this movie about the Olive Garden, which seems like thinly veiled product placement. So if Olive Garden jokes and Jim Carrey being a dick are your thing, you're gonna love Sonic the Hedgehog. I say that as though it's like impossible to like this movie, but I kind of had some fun with it. I think anyone watching this will probably have a lot of questions about whether Sonic the Hedgehog, the character, actually looks good. Last year, when the marketing for this movie got underway, Paramount Pictures released a series of images that showed Sonic in an extremely disturbing, muscular, human-like design. And that's just not how people wanted to imagine Sonic the Hedgehog, as kind of this animal-human hybrid that's super swole that looks like it was made in a lab somewhere. So fans reacted really negatively, and Paramount actually delayed the release of the movie to give the filmmakers extra time to redesign Sonic, insert him in all the scenes with the live action, and see how they could make the film work that way. A few months ago, they wiped out all the online assets for Sonic and just hit reset on the whole marketing campaign, started fresh over again. It's actually really impressive that they were able to get everything done in such a short period of time. I think a lot of people want to know, does Sonic look good? Does it look seamless? And I think it looks pretty good. I think it looks pretty seamless. All the new Sonic effects are really well integrated into the movie. I was actually even looking at the eye lines to see if they kind of matched up, and for the most part, they do. I think if you didn't know about any of the online stuff or the controversy around the design of the character, like, you wouldn't even question that this was the way they originally intended it. So great job to all the animators who probably worked really long nights to get this done. All those animators should be paid double whatever they were. The other thing I want to mention about this movie is Sonic's backstory. He doesn't really get much of a backstory, but what they do mention of it makes it feel really isolating and terrible to be Sonic the Hedgehog. The idea is this character is so powerful that wherever he goes, people will want to get his power, and they'll want to kill his loved ones and kill him and maybe study him and extract his power somehow using whatever scientific tools they have on whatever planet. So then he needs to keep traveling from planet to planet, world to world, just to stay away from these people that want to kill him. And whenever he gets too prominent in one world, the implication is he needs to then use his rings to hop to another world so that he won't be discovered and so everyone around him is safe. The movie doesn't really explain like where his powers came from or why people would want them on different planets or whatever. I mean, on Earth, the applications are obvious, but maybe in other planets, no one cares about being fast. Whatever. Point being, people want his powers, and as a result, Sonic can never have friends. And the movie is about him learning that actually he can have friends, but I mean, in general, what I'm thinking about whenever I play a Sonic game is he just running from place to place, world to world, planet to planet, quantum leap style, hoping that the next leap will be his leap to some place that won't exterminate his loved ones? That's pretty dark. That's pretty dark. Anyway, the rest of the movie is not quite that upsetting, but it did give me quite a bit to think about, and I will never play any Sonic game the same way again. With Sonic the Hedgehog, we have officially moved from the terrible era of video game movies, where they're all terrible and all bad, and you're kind of embarrassed to say that you like video games because the movies are so bad, to now the video game movies can be just fine era. They can be just fine. I'm thinking of movies like Tomb Raider, Detective Pikachu, and now Sonic the Hedgehog. None of these movies are really, really awesome, but they can occasionally be pretty fun. And isn't that enough?
Nobody cares.
You can decide for yourself. Sonic the Hedgehog is out in theaters this weekend. And if you like this video and you want to see more stuff like this, hit subscribe, hit like, hit the bell icon. I'm going to be publishing more videos throughout the year about movies and commentary and other things of that nature. You'll also find a link to some of my other stuff in the description below. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.